I need to take off this one so that just show that this one. Video 2, you have to use HH only. Do not use any artillery. When I give you the emotion of gunfire, you have to let your hashtag my base and let your die. Is it okay for you? Alright, so that's the things that I want to tell him. So the second video I want to do is that the defensive of your base. So you can see that just showed it this one. These archeries, the max and the best of my archeries. I have a Gold Plus, not the best of the best in the world, but you know, this is what I have currently, the best archeries I have, right? And then I want to know about archeries and ATG to kill the super heavy, because anything can basically kill any, like, you know, medium tank, tank hunters, light tank, or the whatever archeries that try to kill our base. That's definitely not the point that we want to kill. We want to know what is the best thing compared. Like, everyone say that the ATG is not the best. Someone say the ATG is the best. Someone say archeries can do almost the same thing to ATG and ATG is a trash or whatsoever. But I really want to test it out. ATG alone and archeries alone to kill the super heavy. Which one is really better? So I will just put it this one. So I will not change this officer setup, and I will not change this officer setup. The reason is because this is the full officer I have most of the time to have my base in the defense state. That means whenever I want to do a siege, I will change to April to Anthony. But now I want to do a defense. That's why I want to have this one, the Anthony plus War Machine. That is almost the best defense I have. Or maybe you know, Anthony plus the Huntsman. But you know, the Huntsman doesn't have the extra attack speed, so this is what I have. But you can't swap this one to the ATG, because when you have this one, you can't say that, okay, I have the same officer on two of them to do the comparison. Definitely not logic, because you only have one set of defense. Whenever your opponents try to use the super heavy to siege your base, then that is what is the situation. That's why I just want to clear that. Not that I do not want to use the same officer on the ATG, but it's the real situation you try to, you know, simulate, you know. So let's do it this time. So that he have to sacrifice his super heavy to kill my base, and my base will use the archeries to kill his whatever. So I have to put my ATG a little bit low. So you can see I have a Jack there, and then let's see the second officer he have. Okay, it's Percy, not the best of the best, you know, but as long as you're using the same setup, so my archeries and my ATG will show almost the same thing. So this one is just test out how quick my archeries alone can kill the super heavy, and how quick the ATG alone can kill the super heavy, to compare, so that the people can't do one-on-one B2B to your base. And now you can see his archeries is stat fully. So that is really a little bit sacrifice to do some of this testing. Is really thanks for him a lot for this sacrificing and do the videos together. So we have to wait for the result later on, and I will just tell him thanks for this one, and please ready for two. I just want to make the word very simple, because I do not want to have the translator being so weird. So I want to make it, you know, short and easy to understand sometimes. So after this and this, unfortunately I doesn't have the TD max, because I already maxed it out in my ATG. So I can't show the TD, but this is what I have now. So, but I also want to test ATG one more time to compare ATG itself with the Guardian of Truth, because you know, Guardian of Truth basically buff all this to the tank. This one buff to the tank, this one buff nothing, this one buff nothing, and this one buff to the panel stations. So I want to know how good about this 40% plus another 40%, 80%. Is it better than we have this one of 8% plus 25% when you garrisons, and this two is basically equal to none, you know. So I want to know, is it damage buff is better than the penetration buff, or the penetration buff is worth to have a try? That's the things. And also you know, Gary 3012 with this skill damage, and also Percy also having the same. So basically the skill damage is equal to the same. It's only like I want to test it out on the Garrison's damage buff better than the penetration or not. But of course, if you put this one on the TD, is much more better because you have 30% but better than the Percy, and also you have you know, whatever skill damage 25% extra as well. But it doesn't get it from the ATG. But I just want to test, you know, just want to test. But now I want to test this one first. Whenever his super heavy is done, I will just tell him when your hash is full and you can attack anytime. No need to wait for me. Alright, so I hope that he get the correct message, because I doesn't want to have a half or whatever try to attack and waste that or that whatever sacrificing. So let's see how quick we kill is all his super heavy. So you can see it take a long time, because if any one of you know that the siege of the army groups or the siege of the snowballing is take about 10 seconds or less than 10 seconds to kill any base. But you can see I have to use my attributes kill this super heavy with 41 seconds. That means my base is already dead, you know, and the super heavy is still standing there like no happening, like no, not really affected anything, because that is how your attributes give you this kind of thing. You have to kill the super heavy within like 5 seconds or 10 seconds the max, so that your base will kill when, let's say, when there is a swarm and this super heavy is killing your base, and you have to kill this super heavy very quick, like within 10 seconds or something, so that the super heavy die, then you can start to kill everything surrounded you, and so all this army group will start to suffer together instead of only one group suffer. But you can see only archeries we take about 41 seconds. That's a very long time. It's almost like a minute, you know. So we can compare to ATG and see how the ATG will do this time, because ATG is mainly counter to this super heavy. If you just go into this one and take a look, you can see it's mainly counter to super heavy. This is the only things that specifically to counter super heavy, but countered by light tank. That's not what we whatsoever. So you can see actually it's definitely counter inventory. So if you want to use an inventory to test, that's definitely okay. But you can see, so 1, 2, 3 or something, they all use super heavy, so we doesn't aware or, you know, afraid of archeries, because you can see I have rockets. So rocket is definitely I can so easy to kill inventory. And after the last arena, you know how good about rocket to kill inventory. So inventory definitely not a very threat to us. But super heavy is how the army group works nowadays. So this is how I want to test it out. Whether is it worth to have an ATG, or you just work it out with archeries, because if the ATG deal with the damage like maybe 30 seconds or 35 seconds, so it's not very big gap, you know. But if deal like 30 seconds is more than a half, then you will really start to know the differences, right? So let's read some of the comment. May I ask, Steel Fighter officer, is it good to be paired with medium tank? Steel Fighter is an officer that mainly just sit in your base. If you max her out, it just mainly sit inside your base. It doesn't work it out on any others tank. But if you want to use it on the field or use it on the run, then definitely it's good for any tank. It's not specifically only like super heavy or heavy or whatsoever. It's any tank also work. Maybe you put on light tank, tank hunters or whatsoever. It's all the tank will benefit from it, but it's just mainly for defense. But she is definitely a officer, have to sit inside your base all the time. Even though you put on archeries or put on the ATG, it doesn't matter at all. So you can see he's died all the way. So one last ashes attack and we are all done here. So I will have to swap this one to Guardian. So you can see we have the best of the whatsoever officer that offer the penetration boost. So we have 80% on ATG currently, And we just want to compare ATG to ATG of the next round, right? So that let's look about the second, so you can see. Okay, so we have ATG. Are you serious? 41 seconds, and ATG is also due to 41 seconds. A bit weird, right? Oh, okay, maybe it's not the new. Is it the new one? Or not the new one? It's a new one. So you can see ATG is also okay. This ATG icon, I can see that. And we have 13.1 from the normal damage and skill damage 10 millions. Then this one is the Arty. We have 15.9 skills damage. That's a little bit like 5 million extra than the officer damage. That's how the ATG work. And then the Arty deal about 8.6 million damage, and then the ATG deal about 13 millions. That's like 5 million damage offset by the normal damage we have from the officer damage from the Arty, you can see. So that's why the time is actually the same, because the 5 million is convert from the officer. That because we can't have all the best officer on whatsoever defense we have, but in the end it just prove another things that ATG is counter super heavy, but it doesn't pay up to what we really sign up for, because your best of the Arty already do almost the same thing, like 41 seconds. If you doesn't look at the details, you can see it's already done almost the same thing. So the ATG definitely is not the best ideal, I would say. If there is a swap event, I might have to swap it to TD, so that the TD can pair with this Guardian of Truth. We will get addition of 25% of the skill damage and also 30% of the firepowering. I think that is much more stronger and much more better than the ATG I have currently. So I might have a little bit regret of this ATG. That's definitely not the best of the best choice, but it's consider about not having all the officer we have, because we have to consider when we have this and we have the second Arty with April, with the huntsman and whatever, then and in the end we only can use Percy and Adder on the ATG, because ATG have to sit in my base all the time. But only the ATG itself also dealing very good damage as well. It's like 13 millions, and my Arty deal about 8 millions. So definitely the ATG will do a little bit better job to kill the super heavy. But because of the officer skill damage is matter as all, that's why you can see that is really what is really happening. Hopefully everyone get the ideas, because sometimes the testing have to be based on the real factor. If I put this setup on ATG, definitely the ATG will do much more better and crazier damage to kill the super heavy. But it just doesn't make it real situation, because no one will have to put those things to the ATG and have your Arty have like Percy on something. Then you try to use it to attack here and there, because you want to have an Anthony to go off from your base to start to kill things, so you can't make the situation like so weird, right? So I try to simulate what we have in the real battles, instead of you thinking that okay, you have an Anthony of 5 of them, and then 5 of them also like test it out. It's definitely not work out and at that moment, So let's look at others comments. Hey, ATG or Dragon, which one is more to if what I test now, I think the TD is much more better, much more better than the ATG. But and also we have received some of the information about 5.0. They will buff the tank hunters again, so that is make tank hunters be more parity and more potential in the future updates, because the ATG did get some buff, but it's not best of the best in the world. So he will start to attack now, because now I want to test is the ATG with the penetration boost and see is it okay or not, Yeah, so he will do it one more time. Okay, he's attacked one more time, but this time he's on the rear of his tank. I don't think it's matter too much, but you can see the penetrate really starting. So it might kill it very quickly, because he used his rear to face to my base. Definitely not the things that you want to do. So sometimes you have to aware. maybe this is not the very factor, but you know, it's just something. Yeah, so we done there. So I don't think I have the very good chance to ask him to have another super heavy to die for me one more time, just to swap this setup to here. So maybe I will ask him. So that we'll just put exactly the same thing to compare, so everyone have a very clear idea. Because it's very hard to explain to him with translators, and you know, I can't talk to him directly. So I will just ask him, can I have one more? Let he say certainly. Okay, so yes, please attack when you have full hashes again. Thank you so much. For my as well, much for this real testing. Hopefully my fans will appreciate what his friend really helped. Because this really need those things break down, instead of you know, having every single time just someone attack you and you're just making a guess about, you know, what is really happening, what is not really happening, you know. So that we have exactly the same setup on my Arty this time with the ATG. So we will just put it a test. So we have a better reports come in from the ATG compared to ATG. So this time you can see it's 36 seconds, and the ATG give a little bit more damage because he using the rail to face to my base. That definitely the penalty all the time, so it's still a lot of damage. But you can see the skill damage reduced about 3 millions, but it somehow kill the super heavy a little bit quicker, like 5 seconds. Not like very crazy things, but at least I know that the getting of true is better than the Percy. That's the first point. But if I can have this become the tank hunters, I think it's still even better and even crazier damage, because they give the 25% of the skill damage for the TD, and also give addition of 30% of the skill damage instead of just having the panel state boost only, right? So that is how you have to make it better, because we doesn't have any officer specifically for this ATG, because we use all the good officer on my others archeries. That's the problems I have, and even I have a rocket, so I use it on my rocket as well. That's why hopefully this testing really make some sense, you know, make some sense about why you want to have ATG, why you want to have archeries instead of ATG, or you know, this and that. So that ATG is mainly kill the super heavy, but if someone play the infantry, your archeries almost do the same thing to the ATG, but the archeries also kill the infantry. So if anyone work on the infantry, your archeries already kill that, so you doesn't have to worry. But if someone use super heavy, you can see the ATG compared to the archeries is not a very big apart from what disadvantage of how the ATG claim that to be counter the super heavy, but the super heavy just die almost the same time to the archeries. And I also start to regret of that I have ATG instead of have the the tank hunters, right? But you know, if give and take, most of the time I will sacrifice something to just test it out, because I doesn't have the 7.2, so I can't test that 7.2. But until I have that, and then I test it out, so everyone know that, so you do not have to take the same path as me, then you can just focus more on archeries instead of having, you know, more of these kind of things that it doesn't really need. And the bomber, of course, you doesn't need. So I will just pull every single things to the Liberty, the camp, the factions, because that's how we have all the good things. Once you have the super heavy already, and you have the Liberty, you have this red bomber, they can put everything to the Liberty of archeries, and also Liberty bomber and Liberty fighter. So you can see all the things that I will just use on Liberty. But sometimes people like to have a Vanguard bomber, or you know, something else. But it really depends on what you want. But this is what I want, you know. So everyone will be aware what is really happening. So this is last test. After this one, I wouldn't ask him to do anything more. I will have to think about what idea for the next video as well. But this test, hopefully everyone know about the steel fighter things, and also the ATG versus archeries. But I'm so sorry that I doesn't have the TD. so I can't really test it out to the TD because I can't use this 6-star TD to show you the things that I'm talk it out. It's definitely not the case that I want, but I already aware that if I have a TD is much more better than the ATG. Okay, so he might start to attack. Yep. So we can see how much this time the ATG do, but you can see the panel stage is still work out because whether it's front or back, it still work out. But the damage might be different. I might have to slow down to see the number, but I don't think that's very important. So he died almost like instantly. I think this time is very good. So thanks you so much. That's all and finish. I will include your name for these 2 video testing when I publish to the world. So once again, hopefully all my fans also appreciate my friends Mlnty help with this testing, and everyone that really wonder what is really happening or not, that really appreciate he really did a lot of help, and so that my base also have some credit because my base takes some of the damage as well. So that if anyone have a question now, you might have to ask, so that I might miss out some of the possibility, so that you have to ask now so I can do the testing with him because he's still here. But I don't think I miss out anything, so that I just repeat what I did for the testing. But let's look at the battle report so that you can see how quickly. So you can see with the same officer of the archeries, we are reducing from 41 seconds down to 37 seconds. That's why the ATG did his job. The damage seems like very less, not because it is less, it's because this is the maximum super heavy health. So it's whether the damage on the left side or on the right side, it doesn't matter. The matter thing is that the second, the time you take down the super heavy, 27 seconds is a huge jump, because if you can kill that super heavy very quickly, so that the swamp team will suffer, because that is how the ATG used to be do. That's why I already know the result is much more better if we have the best officer on the ATG, but it is just not realized on the real world situation, because you can't have this one when your base is getting attacked. You drag this one, you drag this one in and out to attack whatever. Then you know that you can't swap the officer because you're on the better phase. Then you can't swap this one to this one because you think that, okay, now the siege team come to siege my base, so I have to swap this, swap that. But you might be doing halfway, then your base already start attack, and you have something like this, like no officer in your whatsoever. So you have to I already know this one is better than the Percy, so I have to put this one. What is it? I have to put this one on here. So you have to untouch them. You have to really untouch them. So I have to put this one here, and then put the steel fighter here, because the steel fighter is the officer that have to sit on the base. Whatsoever reason, you can't have your steel fighter to risk it out to shoot somebody, play some fun, and then die. When it becomes 0, the steel fighter is 0 effect. So that is hopefully everyone really get the idea and really help someone. May I ask? Yep. And hey ATG, okay. May I ask, steel fighter officer, is it to be good pair with a medium? Yeah, I think you asked that question, so I think everything is really very clear. Let's see what he say about that. Right. Okay. Say no problem. Glad to help. Thanks you. I thanks him. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I have to get back to the lies. I really forgot about that. Yep. Back to the hoop. Alright, so I think that is really what is it for this live stream.